I'm going to put my boat in the water and say that the mystery panel, and it wouldn't be that big of a deal, I guess, but the mystery panel is Green Lantern.
I think if it's not Superman, I think that's a very valid guess. I thought you were about to say Static Shock, and I was like, dude, that's not going to happen.
Bro,
we've been over this.
Oh my gosh, I literally, when we come on the pod after Fandome, would scream if it was Static Shock, because your boy called it if that's the case. Yeah! Let's go!
Oh my God. Josh, I have never been more surprised and proud. Like, guys, before we get into it, welcome back to another episode of the Uncharted Media Podcast. This is episode 97, but before we get into anything else, Josh is a man of his word. He's the man of the people. And number one in the field, number one in your heart, number one in predictions for this week. Josh, post-game, how are you feeling about that bold call for a Static Shock movie?
Okay, so not only did I call it from last week, but also in my 2020 predictions at the beginning of the year, I was like, I guarantee a Flash movie is gonna be announced this year, and you were like, Josh, that'll never happen. And I was like, I hope.
See, okay, in my defense, I wanted it. I just didn't think it would happen because Static Shock was and is a third-party character as his icon. They're Millennia Comics. But one of the big panels at DC Fandome this weekend, which is our discussion for this week, a full breakdown of all the major announcements of DC Fandome. One of the major panels this week was a Millennia panel, and they said that they are in early talks to do a Static Shock movie. I was so ecstatic. I didn't even care that they didn't announce Superman. I was a little disappointed, but I was more just so proud of Josh in this moment going, holy crap, you were not just close, you were bullseye, blindfolded in the dark on a moving horse. You were called it out of nowhere, and you were right.
Dude, I'm never right about anything. I've never. So
it's true.
To really celebrate this moment, I've brought a cupcake because it's what I'm about to eat, because I can't believe it. I can't believe it. And among other things about DC Fandome, which we'll get into, bro, Static Shock finally. Well,
okay. Josh is enjoying his cupcake of victory. Welcome to the Uncharted Media Podcast. As we said, this is episode 97, where we're going to be breaking down everything about DC Fandome. There was a lot of big announcements this weekend. As a whole, I thought the show was really good. I think it set the precedent for the future of virtual panels at online. Like, I could see this being the futures of cons. It wasn't all great. Josh, I know you and I talked about this. There's a lot of filler, of a lot of stuff that really didn't need to be there. But it was still pretty good. Even though I was left disappointed with the lack of Superman, I didn't feel disappointed by everything else. I feel like as a DC fan, I was completely satisfied. There's a lot of great stuff, and we'll be breaking all that stuff down. But we do have some other news to get through first. But before we get to that, Josh, how are you doing tonight now that you finished your cupcake of victory?
Bro, I'm doing great. I had a good weekend. Outside of DC Fandome, watched some cool stuff. I made my first brisket.
Ooh, yeah, I saw that on your Insta story. Also, quick side tangent.
Yeah.
For those that don't know, Josh has been taking over the Media Uncharted Instagram page for this week for DC Fandome, and going forward, he'll be handling more of the public stuff. You crushed it this weekend, man.
Thank you.
I think I might have been the only one interacting with it, but I was keeping up with the story and with the post. You crushed it this weekend, man. Good job.
I appreciate it. I really appreciate it. I tried to, let me tell you, cooking a brisket and watching DC Fandome at the same time is rather difficult. But I mean, I just, at the end of the day, I tried to not over post, but at the same time, there's some really cool stuff that was done this weekend. So it was tough, dude. But yeah, it's a good weekend all around. Good DC stuff. It's vengeance is a thing, I guess.
Mm-hmm. And I'm very excited to talk about stuff. So we're probably just gonna forgo what we watched in this week because what we watched was DC Fandome, but we're gonna talk about that. So Josh, you want to get straight into the news?
Let's do it, bro. Let's do it. Let's go.
So our first news topic is something that I was gonna lump in with the DC Fandome stuff, but it didn't end up getting announced at Fandome, which makes you think it was an 11th hour type of decision. And it was super late to the game because you could tell DC Fandome was clearly pre-recorded. Not that that was a bad thing. It means it just went off without a hitch for the most part. Although I don't know about you, Josh, but I had some technical issues a couple times.
Yeah.
On Fandome, like dropping me. Also, I had it casting from a laptop, and there's some connection issues. But as a whole, pretty good. I was just surprised that we didn't see this announcement, and that is that Ben Affleck is returning as Batman in the new Flash movie. We got some details about Flash. We will go over that, we promise. I was just really, really surprised to see that we didn't get that official announcement. That or the Michael Keaton thing. But the Michael Keaton thing may have some reasoning for that, but we'll also get into that. I never thought that this would happen. And I know some fans, like really diehard Ben Affleck fans, were just like, yeah, we always knew he'd come back. I honestly didn't think so. And it had nothing to do with me not wanting him back. It was, he didn't leave because he was like fired or the universe is going in a different direction like some fans would want to believe. It was, he needed to get his own personal life back on track. And he has done that in leaps and bounds. He seems to be in a much happier place than he has been in years. I've definitely have seen in his time with his girlfriend Ana de Armas from Knives Out. They've really been a good pair together, and he's really turned his life around. So I think he's more in a better place to come back to Batman, and that's why I'm happy. But I have some reservations, and you and I have talked about that. But before we get into that, Josh, you see that Ben Affleck is back as Batman in the Flash movie. Mm-hmm. Yay, nay, somewhere in between? What say you?
I think if anything, this confirms the multiverse thing that they're doing, because they've said that Zack Snyder is not, well, they've said his Snyder cut of Justice League is not canon.
Correct.
But this would help explain why there's so many Batmans. It kind of, in some way, is like, hey, we knew what we were doing the whole time, but they definitely didn't. But, it's cool. I have a friend who was very excited because he loves Ben Affleck, and like I don't blame him because his Batman's pretty cool, and he's very near and dear and close to my heart. But I think somebody's about to take that spot.
Vengeance, baby, vengeance.
Oh, let's go. But yeah, it's cool. I think if anything, this might prove or give more fuel to the fire of my theory that it is a bunch of different the multiverse Batmans, and Keaton is just the one from the future, not like the future of our Earth, not the current. I don't know. It's going to be confusing, but I hope that they don't they tell the story in a very well done way, because otherwise, bro, it's going to be super confusing.
Agreed. So I'm mostly on board for this. I like his representation of Batman, except for, the whole machine gun down enemies. Other than that, I thought his Batman was really, really good and one of the best of all time. I'm more concerned in the fact that he's coming back in the Flash movie, that we already have another Batman. Are we losing sight of this still being a Flash movie? That's my main concern going into this. I'm really excited for the Flash, but I feel like the scope of the story that they're telling probably should have been saved for a Flash sequel. That way we can build up Flash first and get us to care about him. I have faith in Andy Muschietti in this movie, but I am still cautious about, are we going to make this thing too big? It's like going immediately into, I know you hate it, but it's like going immediately into Captain America Civil War before any other Marvel movie.
Yeah, it's trying to put the cart before the horse, basically. Like, hey, I know we have a lot of ground to keep up, but we're going to do this movie to show that we've actually been ahead the whole time. And I'm not really a fan of that.
Yeah, I'm with you on that one. But also, and someone pointed out, and I completely understand and agree, it makes sense to have Ben Affleck come back because it's the Batman that Flash knows. Yeah, it ends his story well. But also, I pointed out to you, have any of our listeners at home, let us know if you have. Have you guys at home read a story called Batman the Flash, The Button? It's kind of more or less the sequel to Flashpoint, which kicked off the New 52. It's basically Flash going back in time to save his mom, which is kind of what the premise of Flashpoint, of what this Flash movie is supposed to be, Barry going back in time to fix something. Well, in The Button, Batman comes across the Flashpoint Thomas Wayne. So Batman and Thomas actually do have a moment of reconciliation before Barry goes back to his current reality, thus completely eliminating that Flashpoint Thomas Wayne era. And that completely erases him. So Batman, again, has to lose his father one more time. But in one of Thomas Wayne's coolest moments ever, he basically kicks Batman to Flash going, no, you have to keep on living. My timeline is gone. But just like a true Wayne, what do? We rise. So he runs towards the white abyss of nothingness. I'm going like, that's how you go out like a boss. So I would love it. I wouldn't mind if we got more Ben Affleck Batman going forward. But how cool of a send-off would it be of literally his timeline is gone forever. And so he runs into the void of nothing. Yeah. Like that, he is the Thomas in this situation. Because we've heard that they want Michael Keaton's Batman going forward. The plans may have changed. Like the wrestling term is always card subject to change. Card subject to change for the DCEU. Now that they have Ben Affleck back, maybe they want him to be the Michael Keaton Batman. But last time we heard, Michael Keaton was supposed to be the big Batman character going forward. So maybe Ben wants a good exit, and this is the way to do it. Of my timeline will literally disappear, therefore I do not exist anymore. That's my theory with it. I do think this is a one-off for Affleck, and we don't know how big a role it is. It could be big, it could be small. I think it's cool that he's back. I'm more proud of him for getting himself into this healthy enough state and healthy enough emotional state that he feels he's comfortable to be back in the big spotlight now. Because when he left, I think a lot of people forget how, I don't want to say damaged because that sounds like a really intense word, but not in the best place. And he took time for himself to get himself back to a good, healthy place. And I think that's really going to pay off for him now. I'm still worried that it might overshadow the rest of the Flash movie, but the jury's still out on that, so we don't quite know. Now, this is very interesting, because you and I have been saying for a little bit, DC's dominating the headlines, and Marvel's just kind of awkwardly sitting around with their thumb up their butt. At least the MCU is. The Sony Marvel projects apparently are still very much moving forward, as it seems like we're getting not one, but two Spider-Man spin-offs. We now have the guy that directed Triple Frontier for Netflix, JC Chandor, and Olivia Wilde, apparently of all people, is directing a female-led Marvel movie for Sony Marvel, with a lot of people suggesting that it's a Spider-Woman movie. I don't hate this, actually. And here's why. In the past, I've been very critical of Sony just going, well, everything's a cash grab for them. They want to rush forward. If this was a cash grab, they would have made this announcement after Venom's opening weekend in 2018. But the fact that this is kind of coming out of nowhere means, okay, they're probably taking their time and actually mapping this out. Now, I don't know that much about Spider-Woman. I did see Booksmart, directed by Olivia Wilde. I don't think it was my cup of tea, but for one of her earliest works as a director, it might have been a directorial debut. I'm not entirely sure. It wasn't bad. She definitely has a future as a director. I think the movie just didn't resonate with me, but I appreciate the skill and technique that went into making the movie. I'm much more circling the Kraven movie, just because as a character, I'm more interested in Kraven the Hunter than potential Spider-Woman. Now, if you said Kraven the Hunter versus a Spider-Gwen movie, That's a little bit closer. Okay, like, ideal, like, I don't know if I could choose Kraven the Hunter, starring Jason Momoa, or Spider-Gwen, starring Haley Steinfeld. I'm going, I don't know if I could pick. But you're seeing these two titles. Are you excited for either one? Are you excited for one more than the other? What are you thinking about these two titles that have been announced by Sony?
So you and I have been calling for Kraven the Hunter for a long time.
Mm-hmm.
Especially since I think outside of Green Goblin, he's one of Spider-Man's biggest challenges, really. And so, I mean, it could be a lot of fun. I'm not against it at all. Like, let's bring it on. You go, Jason Momoa. I'm gonna go Tom Hardy. No, Gerard Butler, I think, is still in my heart. That's
who I said. That's who I've said for years. I'm surprising I'm blanking on that because I've said that for years.
I mean, come on, man. What's wrong with you? But yeah, no. Definitely Gerard Butler. I don't know who I would want to be Spider-Woman because, like you, I don't know a lot about her. And honestly, maybe this is an opportunity to give it to tell a fresh story that not a lot of people know. But also Spider-Gwen is pretty cool.
So if these reports are true and we are getting a Kraven the Hunter movie, does this increase or decrease the chances in your mind that he's the villain in the next Spider-Man movie?
Oh, I think it increases.
Okay, that's fair.
I actually, you know what? No,
I think it decreases it a little bit, but I don't know.
I don't fight it. I'm not going to fight it either way, but I do. Yeah, it might decrease it a little bit because Sony, for the most part, Disney and Sony have tried to have a decent relationship in that you're not going to do except for the most part, don't laugh at me.
It's a love-hate relationship.
I don't think that they would have Sony make a Kraven the Hunter movie after Spider-Man 3. You know what I mean?
Yeah. So, something that someone pitched out there, and I was like, I hadn't even thought about this, but oh my god, I need it now. We are so used to Kraven the Hunter hunting Spider-Man. That's just like his MO. Well, what happens if after 2018, some guy named Kraven the Hunter, the greatest hunter in the world in the planet, hears about some extraterrestrial being that has attached itself to some journalist in San Francisco, and it's Kraven versus Venom?
Ooh, that could be fun. I don't know why my brain went to Blue Beetle because he's DC, but I kind of want that now. But yeah, no, that'd be cool. It'd be a good way to tie everything together. And I think that's the one thing that this Venomverse, I'm putting large air quotes, right at this particular moment is missing. We still have Morbius coming, so maybe that there'll be some connections there. But yeah, at this particular time, not that I'm against the idea, there's not a lot of connections.
Yeah, I'll be very curious to see. Something I'm debating if I'm curious to see or not is Death on the Nile. So Death on the Nile is a quasi sequel to Murder on the Orient Express from a couple years ago. It's a quasi sequel in the sense that Kenneth Branagh is returning to direct it, and his Hercule Poirot, I think is the character's name, is returning as the main detective. It's a murder mystery. I'm trying to think if this one was also based off an Agatha Christie story like Murder on the Orient Express was. I am all game for murder mysteries. Knives Out, as I've said before, was my favorite movie of last year. I like a good murder mystery, and I want to like this movie. Let me preface this by saying I want to like this movie. But I absolutely detested and hated Murder on the Orient Express. I want to like Kenneth Branagh as a director. I think he still, in my mind, directed the most underrated MCU movie with Thor. But Josh, I'm sure you remember. What was the last movie Kenneth Branagh directed?
I don't know.
There's a reason I'm asking you of all people.
I don't know.
So I'll give you one clue.
Okay.
The last name of the movie is how some people describe the movie. Foul.
Oh no.
Kenneth Branagh can be a good director, but I don't want to say he's in a slump, but I think he might be in a slump, guys. Like, Thor was awesome, but how much of that was Kevin Feige, but also that was 9 years ago. So,
jeez. Wow. It was that long ago?
2011, same year as Captain America.
I feel old. I remember seeing that in the theater. I was like the story I'm about to tell you is probably like a year ago. I feel, so I was talking to some younger kid about Balboa, and I was like, it's the best one. It came out recently, blah blah blah.
14 years ago.
And yeah. And he was like, recently? I don't remember seeing it. I was like, no, man, it came out recently. I know it. And then I was like, look, I'll prove it to you, and Googled it, and I was like, oh no. It came out a while ago.
Okay, so
but yeah, to be in that, when you're talking about something, you look at the body of work, and with Orient Express and Artemis Fowl, it's tough, dude. I mean, but maybe there's something about this movie that is different. Maybe there's something about it that clicks with him, and this is how he launches off again.
Okay, yes. So we are talking about this because they released a trailer. Josh, did you happen to see this trailer, and what did you think?
I did not, unfortunately. I have been busy this weekend, obviously. But feel free to tell me about it.
So here's the thing. Here's my issues with it. It looks a lot like Murder on the Orient Express, except instead of a train, we're on a boat this time. It also, to Murder on the Orient Express's credit, like, the trailers got me interested. That's how I got suckered into watching that crap movie to begin with. But also, the trailers quickly established what the mystery is. Somebody has murdered Johnny Depp. And spoiler alert, Johnny Depp killed his own career. But, no, that's... Aww. No, if anybody's going to kill his career, it's Amber Heard. But, this trailer, and maybe it's just because it's his first trailer, I'm going, okay, these are the players on the board, but I don't know what I'm looking at. I don't know what the mystery that we're supposed to be solving here is. Like, I'm assuming somebody's been murdered, but who's been murdered? And you'll be like, but that's a spoiler. Yeah. If you're telling me who got murdered is a spoiler in a detective story, that raises some red flags to me. Going, shouldn't we know going into this who the victim is in a mystery? Like that should be one of the first things that's established, is going, okay, person A is murdered. Persons B through F are the suspects. It's one of them. We got to figure out what it is. This is like, all right, here's people A through F, and there's a mystery. I'm like, well, if you don't tell me what the mystery is, I can't get interested. But also, like I said, Murder on the Orient Express left such a sour taste in my mouth that I don't know. I want to be excited, but I just can't really.
Yeah, no, I get that. I mean, I think Artemis Fowl is a good example for me, at least, because I was so excited from the trailers, and then the movie happened.
Have you still gotten around to watching it yet?
I turned it off after like 30 minutes.
Oof.
Which is very disheartening as someone who loved the series growing up. But yeah, trailers are how they get you. And when it comes to mysteries, I mean, even in Knives Out, they told you who was getting killed and kind of presented the mystery. They didn't give a lot away, But even if they had, you wouldn't have been able to really call it until you saw it.
Mm-hmm.
So to say whoever got murdered is a spoiler, bro, how flimsy is your plot? Or maybe it's just based off of a very popular Agatha Christie book, and they don't want to give it away yet. But I don't know.
Like it's a book. If people really wanted to know, they could just look it up in hard copy. I know that's a weird thing to do.
Yeah, I mean, which is funny because I actually this weekend one of the things I did was go with my mom to a local bookstore, and I was just and it was literally just because I happened to be out with her running errands, and I ended up being the one to walk out with books. So that
good
was,
for you.
That was hilarious.
Well, and at least some more positive news.
Yeah,
this kind of contradicts something that we have been saying for a while. Everyone loves Stranger Things, except Season 2. You can go die in a hole, Season 2 of Stranger Things. You sucked and almost maybe turned you off. But thankfully, Season 3 redeemed itself. But I thought Season 4 of Stranger Things, and I still kind of think it is, apparently Season 4 is not the quote-unquote endgame for Stranger Things. And the Duffer brothers, the creators, plan on it keeping going, and they've said they know a definitive timeline of when this will end. I have my doubts, but Josh, you hear that the Duffer brothers are saying Season 4 is not the end, but they do know when the end will be. What are you thinking of that?
I'm suspicious because I think everything is leading to this being the end. It's just the way that the third season built, and the way they were like, they released that teaser, and they're like, "Hey guys, Hopper's still alive. You're not gonna miss Hopper." I think, how could you not? You've been building this over 3 seasons. How could you not? I mean, and also you don't want your kids to age out, whatever that means, I guess. But if you're gonna sit here and say we know a definitive timeline. Okay, cool. Hopefully that's not 12 seasons, because don't pull a Supernatural and drag this out too long where your fan base not necessarily loses interest, but it just doesn't want to be there anymore.
No, Netflix doesn't know what 12-season shows are.
Correct.
Here's why I don't buy it. Certainty and 2020 are things that don't go together. Nothing is guaranteed in this year. You can be like, we know for a fact we're getting a season next year. Dude, nothing is guaranteed right now. Like, yes, we know they're getting a season 4, but Netflix could have something come up that they go, no, we need to wrap this up and go home now, type of thing. So nothing.
Maybe they go bankrupt.
They already are massively in debt. So yeah, I would like more Stranger Things. If they have a specific timetable, like 7 years, if there's 7 seasons, like 7 years of Harry Potter type of thing, because I feel like that's probably what they're aiming for, then maybe. But also, Duffer Brothers, it's cool that you think that, but you're not the ones that sign the checks. Netflix is. If Netflix says you're done, you might have no choice in the matter, because Netflix has a tendency to cancel things, no matter how popular, after a certain point, because it means you have to pay people more. I watched a fantastic video recently about the long-term damage that Netflix may have because they don't have any shows that would qualify for quote-unquote syndication. Obviously, they don't have syndication on Netflix, but the most popular shows on Netflix were Friends and The Office. Those have a buttload of episodes, like around 10 seasons plus, and around 20 episodes per season. That's a lot of episodes. Netflix is going, Stranger Things is the best show we have. Sure, it's really good, but you have 3 seasons of 8 episodes. That is like 1 season of any CW show. Quality-wise, it's good, but quantity-wise, people sometimes just want quantity. It's the reason why Office was so binged. It was something to put on in the background for hours and hours at a time. And not having shows that can be long-term, I think, is going to hurt Netflix in the long run. And I want Stranger Things to last until it doesn't get stale anymore. Stranger Things season 2. But again, so long as someone controls how much money is coming into your system, it's not up to you, despite your enthusiasm, which makes me happy that 4 is not the end. But again, it might not be up to you.
Yeah, I see, but like, for a counterpoint here, because I'm a debater, apparently. I don't like the idea of people binging The Office and Friends so much, especially when there's so much other content. I like these shows. I mean, I don't like Friends. My hot take has always been Friends is not as good as you think it is. But because people binge it so much and it is such a rewatchable show for a lot of people, it feels better and bigger than it is. But that's a little bit of my own opinion, but there's something to be said about the binge culture. You have to be able to take long periods of time and binge a show. And this is coming from a guy who will happily binge Scrubs all the time. But I know that, I mean, first of all, that season 9 is garbage, but
it's a spinoff show. It doesn't count.
It doesn't count. But that there's other stuff for me to watch, and I understand the psychology of having something you can always go to and having the comfort of a good home, like a go-to show. I get that. But if, as far as syndication goes, if all we do is just pump out long seasons, 20 episodes, lots of stuff to watch, there's a question to be had of like, okay, well, how well is the story being told? And I think that's something that a lot of people that do watch the pod and do listen will hear me say a lot, is that I would much rather have 2 solid seasons of good storytelling, looking at you, Mindhunter, and just leave it there, than have 8, 12, 15 seasons of 20 episodes where it's just a bunch of nonsense. You know?
Yeah, that makes sense. But I think at the same time, the reason why you watch Scrubs or people watch Friends or I watch Psych is it's comfort food. And without showing my hand too much, I think I have a video in the works in the back of my mind. It's just putting pen to paper for something in the future that Josh and I will announce at a later date. Let's just say there's a project that I have in mind that I think one of the biggest problems with fandoms nowadays is familiarity and comfort. And that hinders new things. But that's a topic for a later day. Transitioning from one Netflix show to another is one that, if you've been listening to the podcast for any length of time, I've been clamoring for literally any details whatsoever on this show, and the Netflix gods have heard my cries, because now we have our first official images from the next season of Haunting of Hill House, called The Haunting of Bly Manor. And, oh, sweet bejesus, I just need this to be here already. So, for those that don't know, it's not necessarily a sequel to The Haunting of Hill House. It has a lot of the same actors, like the actress that played Nell, the actor that played Luke. Kate Siegel is almost in every Mike Flanagan production, the dad in the flashback scenes. But they're not playing the same characters. So think American Horror Stories. Same actors, but completely different roles and completely different story and setting. That being said, you tell me Mike Flanagan's doing something, I don't care what it is, I'm there in a heartbeat. Mike Flanagan, to me, except for some of his earlier work, which really just didn't really resonate with me, like Absentia was just kind of almost everything else, he just nails out of the park for me. Love Dr. Sleep, love Hush so much, loved Haunting of Hill House. I just love his work. Oculus. You have heard us talk about Oculus ad nauseum because we love it so much. It's just nice to see, okay, if we're getting pictures, this should theoretically be right around the corner. So maybe like by the end of September or October, because I'd much rather be talking about this than that stupid Enola Holmes teaser with 11. It's stupid. But Josh, you see some of these official pictures from Haunting of Bly Manor. What did you think of Haunting of Hill House, and are you excited for this?
Yo, absolutely excited for this. Are you kidding me? The Haunting of Hill House was fantastic. And if you haven't seen it yet, what are you doing? Are you still watching Friends? Come on.
Nope, that's on HBO Max.
Oh, well, maybe you are still watching Friends then. But yeah, it's I love the show. The pictures are cool. They feel very much in vein with what the show is. That main poster, though, definitely feels to me like what vibes? I got the vibes of oh geez, what movie? Movie with Daniel Radcliffe, first movie after
Woman in
Harry
Black.
Potter.
Woman in Black.
Woman in Black. Well, the first one was fantastic, and I get, at least from that main poster, that middle picture, I get that Woman in Black vibe just a little bit. So granted, there is almost a Woman in Black vibe with the first one, even with the. So let's go, dude.
So,
I'm excited.
I kind of get your Woman in Black vibe, but for those that remember, there's that horrible horror movie at the beginning of this year, think all the way back then, called The Turning, which did not do very well. It reminds me of The Turning mixed with Downton Abbey.
Downtown Abbey.
Look, doesn't it look like if Downton Abbey was a horror movie?
Okay, I'm with you. I'm feeling it. I'm down, bro. Let's go. I don't see why not. At this point, I just need more horror in my life.
Don't we all?
Horror.
So Josh, what would your time frame be on this? When do you think we'll get this?
I wouldn't be surprised about October.
Yeah, I think that was when Hill House dropped the first time.
Yeah, it makes sense, especially when not a lot of new stuff has been coming out. Dropping in October. First of all, is prime spot for any horror movie.
It's the spooky season.
Yeah, spooky season, bro. Bring it on, man.
Alrighty. Well, Josh, you got a sponsor for us this week before we get into the fun stuff?
Oh, here we go. This episode of the Uncharted podcast is brought to you in part by Cupcakes. When you want muffins, but you still need lots of frosting.
Okay. Is there a difference between cupcakes and muffins in your mind?
Yeah. Oh, absolutely.
Besides the frosting?
No.
With that very important distinction made, let us get into our main discussion this week. So as we've stated numerous times, the discussion for this week is a full rundown of DC Fandome. So we won't necessarily be going with the biggest stories. I was planning on going, I have all of our notes here. I was planning on going over it in kind of the order that things drop. So we will save the Batman for last because, I don't know about you, Josh, but I think I'm pretty confident in saying that's probably the thing that we have the most thoughts about.
Me? No, I don't even like Batman.
Probably. So the first thing was, what was the first thing? Wonder Woman. I'm blanking because I'll be honest, I liked the Wonder Woman panel fine, but in terms of panels, for the entire event, Wonder Woman was definitely towards the bottom. And what we got out of it was a new trailer, which isn't in our main graphic here, but it's there nonetheless. And this one, like I said it would be, featured Cheetah this time.
You sure?
Yeah.
You sure? Because I could barely see her.
Yeah, Josh, what are you thinking about the Cheetah reveal in Wonder Woman 84's trailer?
I would love to give you an opinion. About Cheetah. But she's there. She's definitely there. But you can't make her out. There's no clear view of her. And what I saw I didn't like. So there's that. I don't know, dude. It was just so weird.
Okay, to be fair, in the movie's defense, I'll give them this. As a character, Cheetah's gonna be really, really difficult because in live action form, because it's either gonna be done practically, which could work. I was just hoping that it didn't go full cats with it, and it looked like it didn't go full cats. Never go full cats. I think it. We were complaining that we couldn't really see. I think it kind of works in the film's favor to keep it in the dark. That way, if your CGI isn't necessarily up to snuff, that kind of hides it a little bit. That's why, like, the T-Rex in Jurassic Park still looks good to this day because it's in the rain at night. It's using that to its advantage. This, okay, I get it. I'm still not a huge fan of this, like, some of the designs. Patty Jacobs has said how excited she's been to be able to use that like gold-plated Wonder Woman suit. That suit really does nothing for me. Heather and I were talking about it, of how much more we actually prefer the suit that she's wearing. I don't know what it's called, but we've just been calling it the Starcourt Mall from Stranger Things. When she's doing that bust in front of the Walden books, which, oh, the nostalgia. And she's got that bright red and bright blue. I'm like, that is a perfect Wonder Woman suit. You brought up the colors. Because she's in a more hopeful time. She's in a completely different non-wartime decade. That makes sense. Let's just say I feel pretty confident knowing the story because I may or may not have read some things from that may or may not have been some credible sources. And the suit makes sense. That being said, I still am not the biggest fan. And from what I've read, the story kind of seems a little anticlimactic compared to the first one. I have been very eagerly anticipating the reveal of Cheetah just because she's such a hard character to visually get right. I'm still on the fence. I don't know. I will say, though, it could have been so much worse.
I mean, okay, that's fair. I'll give you that. It could have been a lot worse. And I think maybe my, not dislike, but disinterest of the reveal, I'm going to put large air quotes, of the reveal, comes mainly from my disinterest and unfortunate indifference to this movie. The none of the trailers have really grabbed me. She's in that's what's tough, is she's doing some cool stuff. I do think the suit in of itself is a cool like concept. When she's lassoing from lightning bolt to lightning bolt, that's super cool to me, but it doesn't do anything for me either. So I don't, it's tough. I want Wonder Woman to do well, and obviously it's going to be hard if this movie doesn't do well, that for people to be like, well, I guess Wonder Woman was a fluke then because it just happened to be good because the second one's not. I don't know. We'll see what happens. I really hope that's not the case because I never want to root against a movie that is trying to do something super big. You know what I mean? So it's we'll see what happens, man.
Yeah, I don't know. I'm with you. I really want to like this movie, but so far none of the trailers have really wowed me like the first movie did with its trailers. I'm just going, that feels like a Wonder Woman movie. This one, I don't really know what to make of it. It's just kind of there. I want to like it. And I think Cheetah could have been a lot worse. But again, we haven't seen it in action in play yet. Also, like, we know Pedro Pascal is playing Maxwell Lord. I don't know. I like Pedro Pascal. He's awesome in The Mandalorian. I don't know if I buy Maxwell, the way that they're presenting Maxwell Lord, at least, as a real big threat to Wonder Woman, really, if that makes sense.
Yeah,
like,
no, I agree.
I have serious issues with the way they portrayed Ares. I think Ares in the final third of Wonder Woman is my only real issue that I have and why it's not rated higher in my DC rankings list, because that trench scene is fantastic, but the wheels really start to fall off in the finale. Ares felt like a more credible threat to Wonder Woman than Maxwell Lord and Cheetah does. But again, we've benefit of hindsight, we've seen Ares in action. We haven't seen Maxwell Lord and Cheetah in action yet, so jury's still out on that, I guess.
Yeah, we'll see.
But after that, we have Gotham Knights, which I don't even care. I'm buying this day one. I don't even care if it's a buggy mess. I don't care if it's the worst game ever. But also, I feel kind of vindicated in this because I've seen a lot of people kind of sour on the idea of this game because it comes from Warner Brothers Montreal, who did Arkham Origins, which I'm not a big fan of. But the reason why I've been defending this game for a while is this game has one major thing in its favor that Arkham Origins did not. Time. You could tell so badly that Arkham Origins was rushed because WB wanted a game out by a certain point, and Rocksteady was like, we're not going to have that game out by then. But if you really want, Warner Brothers Montreal could probably take care of that. And they're like, yeah, we can do it, guys. We'll just reuse a lot of your files. That's why so much of the map is from Arkham City, or so much of the combat feels the same. And it just felt like a very shallow experience because they had to meet a certain deadline. Arkham Origins is not a bad game. I was just kind of disappointed with it overall. This has had a lot of time to develop since Arkham Origins. And it looks, just from the look we've got now, it looks so much more polished and refined than Arkham Origins, because even from the get-go, I thought Arkham Origins didn't look as good visually as it should have. And that, again, comes with time. It didn't have the time to be what it was supposed to. This game looks similar to Arkham Knight, which we need to say. They have come out and said that, ironically, of the two games we're going to talk about today, this is the one that is not set in the Arkhamverse, which I think is super weird. Because, spoiler alert, for those that played Arkham Knight, Batman dies at the end, and he's supposedly dead in this, which I have a theory, but we'll come back to that. They're making this his own separate universe, which I think is a smart idea, because you're not beholden to the continuity of Arkham. You can kind of start your own thing. But anybody that knows me knows where it's at, why I'm buying this day one. Playable Nightwing and free roam. I don't even care. This game could crash every 30 minutes, but I get to finally live a lifelong dream, not lifelong, but years-long dream of just playing as Dick Grayson in open world, because I was trying to find ways to hack Arkham Knight that wouldn't glitch out, that wasn't getting patched in the next patch notes. But I'm not going to lie, this looks enough like the Arkham games that I'm interested in. I'm actually more interested in this than the other game that we'll talk about later, and maybe that's my ties to Arkham. But it looks like Arkham, but it looks fresh enough that I'm interested in. Plus, there's one or two major details that we haven't said yet that also entices me. But Josh, you saw the trailer and some of the gameplay for Gotham Knights. What are your thoughts about it?
It was cool. Yeah, I'm down. I don't know. The trailer, I think, could have been, and this is such a stupid nitpick for me, I feel like the trailer could have been better put together. I felt
that's fair. Yeah.
But yeah, you know what I mean? It was like, hey guys, characters. Look at that. Yay. Oh, cool. And look, and I'm going to do all this stuff. That's fun. Oh, and we have a story, instead of being like, hey guys, this is the story and these are the characters, like weaving it together instead of making it feel like almost a discount Ultimate Alliance, but with the Batman family. So I don't know, man. I'm excited for sure. I can't wait to play as Nightwing, as Red Hood. My big question is, which Robin is that?
It's Tim.
It is Tim?
They confirmed it's Tim.
That's really weird because he looks a lot like Damian.
Yep, there's a lot of debate online if it was Tim or Damian, but it is, in fact, Tim. So, the other thing, besides playable Nightwing, that obviously shut up and take my money, but something we've been clamoring forever, and it's like the worst kept secret in video games, that this is a Court of Owls game. So, yes, sign me up doubly. You could take all my money. Let's also say, to tee something up for later, I don't think this will be the last time we talk about the Court of Owls tonight.
Oh, really?
Yes.
Wait, I just connected those dots like right now. Holy cow!
Yeah, guys. At some point, I'll toss it over to Josh so I can run across the room and get the hat for later. But the Court of Owls is the main villains. Dang it, maybe I should get the hat now, because time for a tinfoil hat conspiracy theory. I need a graphic for that just to pop up.
You really do.
I think I can already tell you who the final boss will be. Any guesses, Josh?
I'm gonna go with Batman.
Dang it! Yeah, that's basically what everyone's guessing. There's not a chance in the world that Batman, in your opening game of this new franchise, Batman is actually dead. I think he's...
Yeah, and it's not like there's a shot of them, of Batgirl and Nightwing walking towards what looks like a Lazarus pit at all. So there's that.
Yeah. Also, it would be cool storytelling wise though if you've been playing as quote unquote the sidekicks for the entire game and the final boss is your boss basically, like brainwashed by the Court of Owls, or better yet, if he's not the final boss, imagine if the whole game is he's not dead or even brainwashed, he's just stuck in the Court of Owls labyrinth and he's running out of time. Because
you mean exactly like the comic?
Yes.
Yeah, I'm done with that. I have nothing against it. I do have a feeling that my biggest issue with this game is going to end up being that it might play like a smash and go
Avengers
with like Avengers, but with Talons. Because with as many boxes of Talons as they showed, it was like this could be fun, but also like I'm not here to just beat up crowds of Talons, which is funny because I'm going to caveat that with I'm here to beat up a bunch of like low level scum criminals.
So, to be fair, there's that many Talons. There's a ton of them.
Yeah.
There's other villains in this. Like we saw the Freeze gameplay. There's been references to Two-Face, League of Assassins. If I have one big negative for this, it's that it's co-op, but it's online co-op. So if Heather and I wanted to play as Nightwing and Batgirl, we can't. We can't do local co-op, which sucks, and I don't really get that. I would think local co-op would be easier to do than online. So you and I could play it long distance, but I can't play it with the person next to me on the couch. That's just really weird to me.
Yeah.
But it still looks better than...
Hey,
still looks a whole heck of a lot better than Avengers.
Agreed. And that just means that you and I can add a game for us to play. Because, I mean, we still have to play some Fall Guys together.
Yeah, dude. We need to play Fall Guys. We have not played that yet. Have you gotten any crowns yet?
No, I have not. You know what? After we're done recording, let's go get on and let's play some Fall Guys. Let's
do it.
Some stuff together, man.
Let's do it. Not to brag or anything, but I got a crown my first day.
Oh, cool. We're so cool.
And now is when we start getting into the really big news. Josh, you ready to start going over the big stuff?
Let's hit it hard, my dude.
So The Flash is a thing that's coming, and we still have our concerns about it. But, okay.
Absolutely.
We're still a little nervous that The Flash will be overshadowed. But I, for the most part, like the Flash panel. I'll say this, though. I wanted to like the Flash panel. But I don't know about you, Josh, but I wanted to like it, and Ezra Miller seemed really cool in it, but still had this like massive elephant in the room going, I'm still really uncomfortable because we know what you did and we still have not acknowledged it at all. Like,
yeah,
I want to be excited for this because this is a really cool presentation. I like the Flash facts. That was kind of fun. He was entertaining, but at the same time, I'm just like, yeah, pretending nothing happened really isn't the best strategy here, guys.
What's great is I got really annoyed with him doing the Snyder Cut panel.
Okay, which quick side tangent here, and this is the most heated I got during all of fandom. It's super nitpicky. Where the heck was Jason Momoa for anything? Like, wasn't there during... No, seriously. Like, wasn't there during the Aquaman panel? But James Wan and Patrick Wilson was there. wasn't there for the Snyder Cut panel. Even Ray Fisher himself, who was in the middle of like this big investigation alongside Warner Bros. Into the Justice League with Joss Whedon, even he was there, even if it was just for that panel. What were you so busy doing, Jason Momoa, that you couldn't be there for a 5-minute Skype call? Like, come on. It was...
Knowing Jason, he was probably like
surfing,
mountain climbing or something, you know, like he's like, they were like, hey man, this is the date for Fandome. You're going to be available, right? And he's like, sorry guys, I'm climbing a mountain and I won't be back for 6 weeks.
Bai looked at his calendar, looked at the clock and realized Fandome had already passed and goes, oh man, I missed it. And just so,
my man.
Getting back to the awkward Flash panel of like, it was really, really cool and they're getting really excited and that's awesome. But again, it was really just awkward of like, are we not going to acknowledge anything that happened? It would be like if Amber Heard was on the Aquaman panel and they never said anything about it. Like,
or if Amber Heard is in Aquaman 2.
Well, there's talk that she might be, but yeah, I'm not a fan of that either. But in terms of the actual stuff that was presented for Flash, we got music to my ears from Andy Muschietti and actually some official pictures that I'll throw up with the graphic right now. With the picture, as you can see to the left of the Suicide Squad poster, the Flash with what appears to be Michael Keaton's Batman. Now, they didn't confirm Michael Keaton will be in it, but the music to my ears that I've been waiting for, just the magic words that immediately go, okay, I'll be there opening night. Flash will get a new suit because it's a dead horse for me that I keep beating, but the suit that Flash wears in Justice League is up there for one of, if not the worst superhero suit of all time. I hate it with every fiber of my being. I hate the color. I hate the over-reliance on the armor because Zack Snyder thinks it looks cool. And he's like, well, it's homemade. Robert Pattinson made his Batman suit in that story, and that looks awesome. It just doesn't... That suit's terrible. But the suit in the concept art looks amazing, and it's even better by the fact that Andy Muschietti said, yeah, he gets a new suit that's originally created by Bruce Wayne. I'm going, yeah, buddy. Which Bruce Wayne is it? But also, yeah, buddy. So basically, Batman is the Tony Stark of Homecoming. And that works for me. Now, the $1 million question. Will the suit come out of a ring?
No. I'm telling you right now, it won't. I don't trust them to do it. Also, well, you know what? If Batman... No. It won't. That was just a whole little trip that we just took there with me, but
we're going on a trip in our favorite rocket ship.
The magic rocket ship. Baby eyes. Oh geez. It's not okay how much of that song I know.
I was going with Little Einsteins. What were you going with?
Yeah, that's what I said, Little Einsteins. Anyway, it's not like anybody can can rewind that and re-listen to hear what I actually said. But anyway, no, I don't think that's a good thing. I'm excited about a new suit. The fact that it's made by Batman, I'm super okay with because but even like Snyder, and again, this might be because I don't like the way that Snyder talks about the comics. Even the way that he was like, yeah, he made it himself. Armor plating? Really?
Okay.
That's what he went with?
Also,
you have a guy who's obviously smart. He made this suit that's very sophisticated, but that's what he went with? Get out of here.
Also,
you're stupid. You're trying to backtrack. You can be quiet now. Oh, no.
It's a weird nitpick of, with this Flash movie, can we please teach the Flash how to run properly and not like an awkward ice skater that's land skating? Because his running in Justice League, is that really how people run? Even with super speed. Just ask Tom Cruise. He runs super fast, I guess. Like, is that what you think running is, Ezra Miller? Like, you did all this Flash research, but you didn't do any running research. Like, he just looks, arms flailing everywhere. It's aerodynamic. I'm going, whatever.
I think the thing that was very telling, in which I still don't trust Zach and I don't trust Ezra, is, and I keep getting ahead of myself, but the panel honestly really annoyed me. It's not on the Snyder Cut panel. Snyder calls Flash a quantum hero because he deals a lot with time and space, and I was like,
he really doesn't go back in time that often. Although I will say, we won't get to Snyder Cut panel yet, but I will say, I thought, at least for me personally, it was very telling when a fan asked him, who's your favorite comic book character? And he said, Dr. Manhattan. I'm going, that explains a lot. You like the cold, emotionally distant characters, because that's kind of how he writes his characters. Dr. Manhattan is not a good person, and that's okay. That's Zack Snyder. That's his favorite character. That's cool. Everybody's got favorite characters, but I think that explains a lot of his style with comic books and why I think Watchmen is his best movie by far, because he doesn't have to write good people. He has scummy people. I think he struggles with people that want to do good for altruistic reasons, just being good. And that's always been his issue, I think. But that's the Snyder Cut.
Yeah.
Getting back to the Flash, they didn't give a ton, but they gave more than Aquaman's panel, which is single-handedly the most disappointing panel of the whole show, which they're just like, hey, breaking news, Patrick Wilson's coming back as Orm. I'm going, cool. And then they like awkwardly cut their segment. Yeah, the Aquaman panel sucked, but and maybe it's because it's a long way off, but so is Shazam and the Flash, but they at least said something.
Zach was so uncomfortable, and it was hilarious.
Yeah.
Oh, man.
Okay, so
I loved it.
Anything else on the Flash before we move on to the Suicide Squad?
Yeah, I was excited about Suicide Squad.
Okay, so Suicide Squad, up until this point, was my favorite panel before, the main event. But
Did you bet me?
I think this was probably the most fun panel. The Batman one was more like understanding what the movie was going to be like. This one was more, this is how much fun we had while making it. Also, we finally figured out who everyone's playing, and we were right on some and really wrong on some other ones, Idris Elba.
Dude.
I felt lied to about the Idris Elba one, but Bloodsport's cool, I guess.
So sad. I can't tell you how sad I am that he's not playing Bronze Tide. Like, oh my gosh. Oh, I'm so glad I got something else really out of the blue, really right, because I won't lie to you, I was legitimately almost heartbroken.
Get over it, because we're getting Peacemaker. And yes.
True, and we're getting King Shark, bro. King Shark.
King Shark is a shark. King Shark is a shark. Okay. This is maybe just my fan nitpick, but for those that have seen Justice League Dark Apocalypse War, I really want that interaction between King Shark and Captain Boomerang of King Shark is a shark. King Shark is a shark. And Captain Boomerang's a freaking boomerang, you twat knuckle. I'm like, and he's just like, it's been an honor to fight by your side. Are you kidding me?
Oh, I would love that.
There's a theory out there that I kind of believe of, we know our friend and yours, Taika Waititi's in this movie, but they didn't say who he's playing. You know who didn't get a title card in this? Everyone's getting a title card clip? King Shark.
Yeah, he did. I thought he...
Nope. If you look back, it just says King Shark is in the movie, but they don't say who he's playing it. In the panel, they say, and this is the body double for King Shark of who's doing the motion capture and everything, but they never said who's doing the voice. I think Taika Waititi is King Shark.
Oh, no. Oh, gosh. I don't think my body's ready for that. I don't think it's ready for Taika Waititi to be King Shark. But also, that's perfect. Oh, my goodness.
I'm a shark. I'm gonna bite your head off. That seems unpleasant for you. You're a bit gummy, But yeah, that's my little shock, Cuba.
Shout out, man, to the Harley Quinn animated show, because they do stuff with characters that is so fun that I think will bleed over into this. I think the only other one that there's two of them that I got pretty excited for. I mean, Peacemaker we kind of knew.
I called that.
Yeah.
And you tried to say, you don't know who Peacemaker is. Dude, I will drag them out if I have to. I actually had the first 5 issues of Peacemaker. And Peacemaker, and you said the Harley Quinn show, Harley Quinn, brings me to what I love the most about this panel was James Gunn with the ultimate flex of, look how spot on our costume department is. Of, holy crap, these people look like they're ripped out of a comic book. Like, the first one was like, this is dark and gritty, so it has to fit in a Snyderverse. This one is like, nah, dude, these are ripped right from the pages of a comic book. Like, Rick Flag was no one's favorite character about first Suicide Squad. I'd be lying if I said I didn't pop super hard when his title card comes up and he's wearing the classic yellow t-shirt. I was just like, oh,
yes,
Rick Flag! Also, I haven't even seen the movie yet, but the braids and a bomber jacket and jeans for Harley Quinn, hands down my new favorite Harley Quinn movie outfit. That, I was like, that's Harley Quinn. But also, it's a not overly sexualized Harley Quinn that is so often the case for Harley, whereas this one is just like, oh no, that's just a crazy girl that's going to shoot a bazooka at your face. But also, it's the classic red and black Harley. It looked awesome. But that looked good. Just the ultimate flex of like Michael Rooker's Savant character. Here's the comic, and then here's Michael Rooker. I was like, oh wow, that's really spot on. Just seeing how close everyone was to their comics, and seeing certain mysteries like who's playing King Shark, what role is Nathan Fillion? I'm saying it now. He's arm fall off boy, and that's gonna be great. Or Flula Borg being Javelin. And then they showed like the behind the scenes clip. Oh, no, actually the part that I popped the most was we said Peacemaker. When John Cena comes out with Peacemaker, because we kind of figured that would happen. I genuinely didn't think that they would give him the dome helmet. Because that's such a cheesy, stupid thing. Because like I said, I actually have some of the Peacemaker comics, and that costume is so old school, like Rocketeer dated design that I was like, this ain't gonna fly. I popped so hard when I saw it. I was just like, it looks stupid and I need it. It looks so good.
I think the one that I popped for, and there was no reason for me to pop for it, was Weasel.
Okay. Sean Gunn.
I love Sean Gunn. And the fact that he plays both Rocket the Raccoon and now Weasel is killing me.
He's going to get so oddly typecast.
Oh, man.
Okay, so then...
It is! And, like, they showed the pic... They did the side-by-side of him and then what he's going to look like in the movie. I just lost it.
So let's get a full rundown. We've got Rick Flag from the last movie. My man, Polka Dot Man. Halloween costume incoming. Because screw y'all, Polka Dot Man will be the MVP of this movie. I've been saying that since they announced this movie and they said that he might be in it. Because Polka Dot Man, for life, he's the best. We got King Shark. King Shark is a shark. Whatever Nathan Fillion's character is. It's supposedly just TDK. It's going to be Arm Fall Off Boy. Calling it now. A completely new character. Played by the woman, from that USA show. I'm not completely caught up. Sol Soria is the character name. Flula Borg as Javelin. Michael Rooker as Savant. Pete Davidson as Blackguard.
Dude, I was so excited to hear Pete was in this. Are you kidding me? Let's go.
Sean Gunn as Weasel. Margot Robbie as Harley Quinn in her coolest outfit yet. Captain Boomerang, the best part of the original movie. Your boy, Peter Capaldi as the Thinker.
Yeah. I love that he's the Thinker, bro.
We've got Amanda Waller. Idris Elba as Bloodsport, not Bronze Tiger. Ratcatcher 2. I actually really dig the fact that they call her Ratcatcher 2 and not just Ratcatcher. Like they're acknowledging there was somebody before you that was probably better. Mongol, who is actually somebody. They're not just gender swapping Mongol. And then
yeah, because that's what I thought, and I actually was like, at first when I thought that was the case, I was like, I am super down for that.
I think we'll probably get Mongol at a later date in some other movie.
Oh, I would hope so. I mean, it's Mongol.
And then our boy John Cena as Peacemaker in probably the most comic accurate suit. Okay, now that we've got the list of all the people in it, Josh, it's time to do the hit list. Who's surviving? Who's dying in the Suicide Squad?
Okay, dying is I'm gonna go Weasel, TDK, Thinker, Savant, Mongal, Blackguard. Yeah, Mongal, sorry, and Blackguard. At least bare minimum.
I think, yeah. I would not be surprised if there's like 2 people left standing at the end of this movie.
I want to say Rick Flag, but I don't know, we'll see.
Rick Flag is the most like, I don't know here, because he's supposed to be the leader, but I don't know. I am willing to bet the house. Again, James Gunn has said, don't get too attached. I feel like we can get pretty attached to Harley Quinn because I don't think she's going anywhere. I think Harley Quinn is the only one that I feel like is probably safe to survive. I don't want Polka Dot Man to die, but I feel like he might. Okay, looking at the list, Rick Flag. I don't know. I lean more towards die. Polka Dot Man. I lean towards we're going to keep him alive, and he's going to be the MVP. King Shark, we leave alive. Maybe for Aquaman 2, please. TDK / arm fall off boy. He's going to die. Solsoria, going to die. Javelin, gonna die. Blackguard, gonna die. Weasel, gonna die. Savant, it's Michael Rooker, he's gotta die. Captain Boomerang and Harley Quinn are safe. Peacemaker, yes. Mongal, yes. Ratcatcher, dead. Bloodsport, dead.
Really?
I think we're going to have some big name people because, yes, we know James Gunn likes to have Nathan Fillion and Michael Rooker and his stuff, but he likes to kill them off pretty quickly.
Yeah, I suppose. The big thing that, and I think I posted it on the Instagram, was that there's apparently a running gag on set that if you're going to sacrifice anybody, it's Michael Rooker.
Yep. Also, I love all the cast jokes of just like, has there been anything really scary? And they're like, yeah, Weasel. Weasel's pretty terrifying because you see him in that like. Also, we haven't even talked about the other stuff that they talked about. They released this like behind the scenes clip, which got me even more excited. Yeah. And also, I have not shared this with you, Josh, but I've heard a rumor. So again,
a rumor.
Take this with a massive pinch of salt.
There's a rumor?
Again, take this with a massive pinch of salt. But the rumored villain for this movie is Starro the Conqueror. Josh has no reaction.
No way.
If anybody would do it, it's James Gunn.
But that's like, well, I guess the Justice League's already together, so, bro. I'm down.
Right?
I'm so down.
Okay, for those that don't know, Starro the Conqueror was the Justice League's first villain ever. And he's a gigantic 50-foot starfish with an eye right in the center. And I kind of really need him. I've desperately wanted any form of Starro. I pop real hard when they use some form of Starro in Young Justice. I don't know why. I have a soft spot for Starro, just maybe because he was the Justice League's first, but he's a giant starfish villain. Come on. How is that not exciting? If that's true, shut up and take all my money, James Gunn. It's just crazy enough that it might work.
Well, and it would... Oh, that works on so many levels. Oh, no! I don't even know who else would be crazy to bring back Leto's Joker. But, like, he's got a Starro on his face.
So, the last thing that we have to talk about for this, before we move on to Josh's excitement and pride and joy forever and always, is that they did this like little trivia game, which I wasn't a huge fan of any of like the games because like Wonder Woman did this ridiculously overlong and shouldn't have existed game segment, but it just resulted in talking over each other, and same thing happened for Suicide Squad. But they played some trivia, and we did get a very interesting piece of tidbit of one of the questions was, whose character is in prison for shooting Superman with a kryptonite bullet?
Yeah.
And I went, come again?
What?
So like you're just casually dropping information about the plot, or not the plot, but like some tidbits about the story. And it was Idris Elba's Bloodsport character. I'm going, all right. So we didn't get any form of a Superman announcement at all. He's just going to be referencing other people's movies, as we'll talk about later. I don't mind that. That's kind of cool. It kind of makes the world feel a little bit more lived in. I thought that was a very interesting touch that I think a lot of people are overlooking. I think that could be interesting. I'm not saying we'll get a Superman cameo, but I wouldn't mind it.
Yeah, I'm down. What's funny too is now that we know who Idris Elba is, one of the things that has come to my mind is if he survives with Bloodsport, have him and Bloodshot in the same movie and have a little interaction between them of like, oh, I see you.
They're not the same company. They're not the same company.
Yeah, they are. Deadshot?
Oh, I thought you said Bloodshot with Vin Diesel.
Yeah, I said Deadshot.
I'll believe you said Deadshot, and I'm just hearing Bloodshot because I'm getting them mixed up because I said Bloodshot earlier.
Yep. Because we know I'm literally the best with names, so I said Deadshot.
It's true.
Have Deadshot and Bloodsport meet, and it could be a fun interaction. I don't know, but overall, I think this panel got me so hyped.
Yeah.
For the Suicide Squad.
I wouldn't say I was disinterested in the Suicide Squad. It just wasn't like my top priority. But now I need to see this movie as soon as possible because it seems really, really promising and seemed like no holds barred James Gunn as opposed to really good, but still kind of fits in the MCU parameters type of thing.
What? You mean he was held back with? Oh man, that's amazing.
I don't think he was held back, but there's other issues with Guardians too. But that's a long story for another day.
Yeah, that's it. Yeah.
So next up, we had what I'll admit, up until a certain point, I thought, and Josh might get mad at me, I thought up until a certain point, this panel kind of sucked.
Yeah.
I don't think it was presented the best way. It had one of the best announcements. So this was the surprise DC Comics panel. We were kind of hoping it would be Superman, but it was comics related. So that should surprise no one. Which also, I could have sworn that one of the panels was like a TBD surprise panel, but that apparently was not on the schedule anymore. So this was the only like surprise. I almost fell asleep at the beginning of this panel. I think they did things out of order.
Oh, yeah.
So it was a reunion, more or less, from Millennia Comics, who was a third party that used to work with DC that did like Icon, Static Shock, which is what we're going to be talking about today. They're just kind of... The weird thing is it just kind of started and they just started talking. Like they didn't properly introduce what they were talking about or why they were there. They just kind of been like, hey, remember when we used to work at that company? Yeah, this, that, and it. They just started talking to each other, but they didn't like properly set up where we were going to the point of when they just all of a sudden dropped, hey, Static Shock's coming and we're doing a Static Shock movie. I immediately just sat up Undertaker style going, way to bury the lead, guys. Open with that. Say, hey, we're freaking Millennia Comics, and we're bringing back Static Shock with DC, guys. And Static Shock movies on the way. And then you have my attention for the rest of the thing. Just swap that, and that panel's so much better. But then they like just buried the lead, be like, oh yeah, in 2021, DC Comics is working with Millennia again, and we're working on a Static Shock. I'm just like, no, open with that, guys. Also, again, preface what you're talking about so it doesn't just seem like we're just peeping in on your business Zoom meeting.
Yeah. No, yeah. But to their credit, because I did pay attention and I did listen, because they worked closely with my boys at Image Comics, who I always rave about. So I was immediately interested because I'm a nerd and that kind of stuff happens. But I could feel them building to something in that. Okay, this is what we wanted to do. These are the characters we made. This is why it's such a big deal that we did. And then they brought in the guy that voiced Static, and they were like, "Hey, like, what did this character mean to you?" And blah blah blah. And it felt like it wasn't done in a loud and boisterous way, but it was done in a way that was like, hey, yeah, let's have a conversation about what these characters mean to you and all this stuff. But I agree. All of a sudden, I almost missed it.
Mm-hmm.
I almost missed it because he like casually throws it out there. He was like, yeah, I mean, because starting in 2021, we're going to start making stock comics again, and there's a TV show on the way, and there's a movie on the way, and we're like, whoa, what? Hold on, dude. That's a big thing. Okay. First of all, I called it. Oh, man. But at the same time, like you said, lead with that. Come on.
Because then you have the energy for the rest of the announcement. You have everyone's attention from that point forward, as opposed to people falling asleep.
I'm so happy that not just the Static Shock is going to be a thing, but now we have a young African-American superhero that is on the way to the big screen, and that opens the door. To me, that opens the door. That doesn't open the door. That kicks the door down. That means Blue Beetle's definitely on the way. That means Beast Boy's definitely on the way. That, like, all of these awesome, more like non-white characters are on the way, and I'm super excited about it because as much as I love Superman and Wonder Woman, some of my favorite characters are not white.
What?
And I'm excited that's the future of DC Universe.
Yes, we're allowed to have other ethnicities. They would like superheroes to look up to too. But yeah, I thought this was a really awesome announcement, and I'm just shocked that you just nailed it to the point of just like, I couldn't even think about my lack of Superman announcement anymore, which kind of made me sad, but I'm more just going, he did it. That crazy guy did it. He called it. But again,
I never guessed anything.
No, you don't. That's why I was just like, good for you, Josh. The one crazy out there thing. You completely nailed it on the head.
Oh.
But again, yeah, the panel.
I'm so happy.
The panel itself probably could have been a little bit better, but again, just open with that next time, and then we'll take it from there.
Yeah.
So, next up was what I thought would be the main event of DC Fandome, but I'm really, really glad that it wasn't, because compared to the actual main event, this is nothing. Like, this probably has its more vocal, annoying fan base. And that, of course, is the Snyder Cut. So we got our Snyder Cut panel, which Zach really didn't offer up a whole bunch of details. Like, considering how much he's been hyping it up, we didn't get a whole lot of info, really. We got our new trailer, which, really?
Put
Hallelujah.
Air quotes on that.
Huh?
Put huge air quotes on that. It was a trailer. It was a bunch of new scenes that he threw together in no order and just had a weird song play in the background. That's fun. That's a trailer, right? That's storytelling, right?
Which I know he has said that it's got some like real personal connection to him and his family. I'm like, that's cool. It's also really, really overplayed. Like, you want to get emotion out of people? Just play Hallelujah. And it's all stuff that we either saw in previous trailers, and everyone's just going, it's all new footage. I'm like, yes. But does that change the overall plot of the movie? No, it really doesn't. And I think I would be more on board with the Snyder Cut as a whole if I wasn't so just sick and tired of Snyder Cut fans. I know you think people were bullying you because they said the Snyder Cut didn't exist. You're right. We never doubted that the Snyder Cut existed. We doubted what level of completion that it was at. We were like, yeah, I'm sure that there's a cut. But you all insisted that there's 100% completed version of the Snyder Cut. But people also kind of, the Snyder Cut, the reason I don't like Snyder fans is they seem to think if you don't like Zack Snyder's movies, then you're an idiot that doesn't understand comic book movies. And I think that's kind of encouraged by Zack Snyder because at times I've heard he's great to work with, but at times he kind of comes across as a little abrasive of like, I make movies for adults. Is that why only half the people that see your movies like them? He kind of come across as a little jaded and bitter sometimes. And I get it. You're really passionate about your movie. But also at the same time, there are going to be people that don't like your work. That's part of the gig. He gets very reactionary, I think. Now, I get that this was his baby. I get that. And I'm curious to see. I think this will be more cohesive and feel more uniform than the Joss Whedon version of Justice League. But I still think it'll be very Zack Snyder heavy because we see like the destruction of the Hall of Justice, which I'm like, why do you want to destroy everything? Like, we see Superman in a black suit in the final fight. I'm like, well, we knew in your original plans you wanted to turn Superman into one of Darkseid's evil minions and then kill Batman and destroy the Hall of Justice before Barry goes back in time and undoes everything. Just like, why? What is your obsession with stripping down and destroying everything? Why can we not just build things up? And he'll be like, the only way to build things up is to destroy them from the ground up, so that way the victory is greater. I'm like, the reason Justice League Dark Apocalypse War worked is we had background with these characters. We cared about them. We knew them. We had plenty of movies to build up to Apocalypse War. This is just like, well, this is the end of my trilogy, and screw you if you don't like it. It means you don't understand comic books. I'm like, no, we've read plenty of comic books. We just have a specific style that we like. And it's comic books are not, nor have they ever been, my way or the highway. There's been so many different interpretations of so many different characters, and it always just annoys me going, I know the comic book, so that's why I did it this way. I'm like, there's been a lot of different interpretations. What you like may not be for everybody, and that's okay. But just him kind of being a bully, but also kind of encouraging this attitude of, if you don't like my movies, you're a moron who just doesn't get it. It's like, maybe we kind of just want something else from our movies. And again, this trailer doesn't show to me that the movie that we were gonna get was any better than his previous outings. I like most of Man of Steel. I have an issue with the second half of it and it being completely lopsided and basically just nonstop violence, where it should have been spaced out a little better. But I hate Batman vs. Superman, and I think it would have been more optimistic. I think Justice League is more optimistic than Batman vs. Superman, but it would be a lot in the same vein. You could tell just by this movie, just by this trailer, it's like a lot of the shots are the same, just with that weird dark blue color palette that he really, really likes for some reason. Also, weird side note of, he really does like him some Dr. Manhattan, to the point that he turned Silas Stone into Dr. Manhattan by vaporizing him in the exact same way that Dr. Manhattan was in the Watchmen movie. But whatever. Also, I love that you shared a meme of it. All these Snyder Cut fans will pounce on anything Joss Whedon related for the Justice League, and will quick to defend anything even remotely Zack Snyder related. And I'm going, y'all realize that Darkseid looks like trash, right?
It was the funniest, because the meme itself was like, guys, PlayStation 2 Darkseid can't hurt you, and then PlayStation 2 Darkseid, and it's the picture from the trailer. And every single person I've ever talked to about it, since this weekend, but it has been like, well, yeah, but it's Darkseid when he's younger, before he's Darkseid. I don't care.
Then why do the graphics still look bad? Like, I get it, Zach.
Yeah,
like, I get it, Zach.
The case. Okay, fine.
You wanted to show Darkseid the 30 seconds that Darkseid's in this movie. Guys, again, Darkseid, again, louder for those in the back that still don't believe it. Darkseid is not the main villain of this movie. It is still Steppenwolf. He's showing this to you just because it's something different, I guess. But, Zach, I get you want to show Darkseid. But if your Darkseid special effects weren't ready yet, then don't show them. Because I think Darkseid will look better in the final version. But, oh my God, did that look bad. And fans will be like, it's better than Steppenwolf in the movie.
No.
You're right. Steppenwolf in the movie looked better, but not by much. That did look bad, but that was also time crunch. Zack Snyder's got a lot of time. But also, if your graphics aren't up to par, just don't show them. That's fine. There was no rush to show Darkseid here. Also, this is my really weird complaint, but I don't. And maybe I should thank Zack Snyder for this. Actually, this aspect ratio that the trailer is in is how the movie will be. Almost kind of like a VHS 4:3. It looks super weird. If nothing else, Zack Snyder has gotten me really, really fascinated by aspect ratios. And there may be a video coming in the near future about aspect ratios and where they came from, why they matter. I genuinely don't understand the aspect ratio for this movie. And he's like explained it. But I'm going, well, still, how you're shooting it, doesn't that kind of go against what you hope to desire for this movie? Because you shoot like high like that for tall and heroic things. That's why Jurassic Park was shot the way it was, so you can utilize the full screen head to toe. Well, why aren't you don't use the sides so you can capture the height of stuff? Well, why couldn't you expand the screen a little more? And fans are like, he wanted to get the full image. I'm like, I kind of think he did it so that it wouldn't have the same aspect ratio as Joss Whedon's Justice League. So it wouldn't, it's another thing of, you can't compare me to that because I did my own thing. Of, really? You're so pretentious that you're making your own aspect ratio for this movie that no one else has ever used? It's like a 166:1 or something like that. I'm like, no one uses that. They used 4:3 in The Lighthouse because that served the story to make it feel more claustrophobic. Watching the trailer actually bothered me, going, why am I watching this in such a tight, confined space? Like, if this is supposed to be an epic, blow up the aspect ratio so we can see the full thing. Why does it feel so self-contained into this little box here? And it's like, it's to show the full picture. You get more, the full picture with this aspect ratio. I'm like, do you really, though? I just felt like I was watching less of the movie this way than watching it with the full screen, if that makes sense.
Yeah, no, it makes sense. And what's weird is the trailer was the least of my issues with this panel. Bringing on the president of the show us the Snyder Cut movement or whatever was such a like, hey guys, we know we heard you because y'all had a whole movement, see, and we're going to talk to her now. Oh yeah, see, you guys wanted this, that's why we're doing it. Yeah. And then like Ezra Miller being like, hey man, will we see more Flash, because I want to be Flash more. Like, get out of here, dude. Like, okay, ask a question that is like important
about the movie.
Not, will you see me more? I want to be in the movie more.
I think one of the problems with the Snyder Cut is I don't think people care about the movie at all. I think it's just them going, well, we have a chance at going screw you to a movie that we didn't like. If you didn't like Justice League, that's fine. But it happened. And I think so many people are obsessed with the idea of the Snyder Cut, of the idea of replacing something that they didn't like. Now, I want the Snyder Cut to happen because I want Snyder to finish his vision, especially given the tragedy that happened during filming. But I think so many people use the Snyder Cut as an excuse to go, well, it means we can forget about Justice League. Just because some movie comes along that you don't like doesn't mean that other people didn't like it or that it wasn't a complete failure. The Twilight movies happened, but is there a release the Stephanie Meyer cut of a alternative version of that movie? No. We acknowledge that those movies happen, and those have their fans, and that's fine. But I don't know. I think it's, again, I want this movie to be good. I never want a movie to be bad. It's just that Snyder Cut fans have really just gotten under my skin because they're frankly bullies. And they'll be like, well, we were bullied first. No, we were just telling you.
By who?
We were just telling you there's no finished version of Justice League. That's not an assault on you at all. Going, if you like Joss Whedon's Justice League, you're a moron who doesn't understand good storytelling in comic books. I'm going, no, I like good storytelling. That's why I like other superhero movies. Because I gotten, not full on debate, but I put on some social media that I think Zack Snyder would excel if he was just a cinematographer. If he...
Oh, dude, totally.
Because he is one of the most gorgeous, visually minded directors out there. But in almost every movie he does, he bites off more than he can chew story-wise. And I think all of his movies are ambitious, which is awesome. But they always try and do too much. And that makes a story very muddled. But if you tell him or his fans that, they're just like, he just doesn't go for the standard cliched superhero movies. He makes them more complex. I'm like, complicated and complex are not the same thing. Oh, also, I love it wasn't really a subtle jab of Zack Snyder, like, got in some Twitter war with some journalist from Forbes, and he was just like, this movie's for adults, not kids that like Saturday morning cartoons, like the other version of this movie. And I'm going, later on, we have Matt Reeves, who never even says that this movie is specifically for adults. He just goes out and shows that his movie's for adults, but also his movie looks good, but doesn't like beg for attention going, this movie is only for a specific group of fans, and if you don't get that, you're an idiot. Just like Zack Snyder just has this attitude of like alienating people, and that's a shame because I think geek culture should be including everyone that we get, because it's awesome that superheroes are cool now. Because when I was growing up, it was not. And I'm glad that my family or my mom asks me nowadays about stuff that's coming up, like the MCU or DC. That's awesome. I don't want there to be this divide. And I think the internet's probably partially to blame for that. But also I think Zack Snyder kind of fuels the fire to that a little bit of going, it's either me or you don't get it. And I'm like, that's not how comic books should be. We should be allowed to have discussion. And I kind of want to just move past the Snyder Cut. I want to see it for sure, so we can see his completed vision, for better or for worse. But I think people are expecting this to be like a masterpiece and like the best comic book movie ever made, when no movie can ever meet that standard.
Also, we're not even touching on the fact that it's not going to be all in one piece.
Yeah.
And that might bother me more. That he's like, all right, we're going to do HBO Max, but it's going to be in 4 1-hour segments. Like,
so we can get the most.
Making a TV show.
So we're getting the most HBO Max money movie possible. Going,
Yeah, it's a TV. It's don't. It's stupid. Let's move on to something that was reasonably cool.
Yes. Yeah, so next up, we had the Black Adam panel, which I was kind of hoping, again, for some Superman, but we got nothing. We got something, I won't say just as good, because nothing would have been as good as a Henry Cavill Superman announcement, but we did get some nice surprises in the Black Adam panel, with some interesting concept art from the movie, and a nice narration from The Rock, more or less explaining what the story of Black Adam will be, of basically former slave turned demigod that is not a good person, but he was the person that his world needed at the time. But screw that, we get Justice Society. That's what's important to me. Oh, boy.
Let's go, bro. Like, I think my favorite line is, they needed a hero, but they got me. I was like, oh no. Oh, bad things are going to happen. But we're getting Dr. Fate, bro. We're getting Dr. Fate, finally. Oh.
Dr. Fate and Hawkman. And Cyclone, but Cyclone, whatever.
Yeah, Adam Smasher, Cyclone, sure, okay, whatever. But yeah, Hawkman, let's go. All right, off the cuff, who you want playing Hawkman?
Nikolai Coster-Waldau from Game of Thrones, Jaime Lannister.
Okay, I'm down. Sure. Cool. All right.
Dr. Fate, it doesn't really matter just because they're under a helmet for most of it.
No. You ready? You ready for this? You ready for this? I don't think you're ready for this. Sit down. You need to be. Are you sitting down? You are sitting down.
Yeah, I got numb butt because you're dragging this out so long.
You ready? I gotta get close to my mic.
This is not ASMR.
Benedict Cumberbatch. Yeah, I'm with there. I'm going there. No. Hear me out. Because there's been the theory and actually confirmed that Dr. Fate and Doctor Strange are the same person.
Okay, so I gotta ask you. How far away is Florida to Tennessee so I can slap the stupid out of you? Cause, oh my!
If I can call for Tom Hardy to be Wolverine, I can call for Benedict Cumberbatch to jump ship.
This is even dumber than that. Like,
it's all right. Be nice.
Dr. Fate and Doctor Strange are the same person?
Have you not heard that?
They're not. That's like saying Captain Kirk. Yes. That's like saying Captain Kirk piloted a TIE fighter in A New Hope. Like, really? No,
it's not. Because magic is not involved, bro. Magic goes wherever it wants, bro.
We know who Dr. Fate is. It's Kent Nelson, and sometimes it's Wally West.
Yeah, here's the thing, man. I do have other choices. I just wanted to put that out there to see how much it would make you mad.
You broke me. Just no.
Let's go with I kind of want Edward Norton.
No.
I feel that would be cool.
Let's never get him near a comic book movie again. Not performance-wise, but just diva-wise. No, he's a diva.
No, let's totally do it.
No.
Let's do it.
No, because his ego will take over and he'll try and rewrite the movie.
Fair. I mean, but it's okay when Robert Pattinson does it.
He didn't rewrite most of the Batman, though. Or try to, at least.
I know. But no, yeah. Regardless, I'm excited to have Hawkman have a movie version of Atom Smasher.
Yay.
Excited for Dr. Fate. I really could care less about Cyclone. But,
yeah, no one's talking about Cyclone. Cool. Whatever.
But Dr. Fate, yeah.
So, I got excited because I don't think it's going to happen in the first one. But mark my words, Black Adam 2 is going to be a Superman showdown. And The Rock did not hide it in the slightest. He had two, actually, might have been three Superman references in his little panel. And he comes to a world of wrestling of your words matter. The choice of words that you say matter. He dropped, at the end of his panel, he said, I want all the Justice League to be on watch. Shazam, Flash, and most importantly, Superman. Save Superman for last. But do you remember how he closed out his panel? He said...
The power struggle.
Oh, no. That's not what I was talking about. He looked dead in the camera and said...
Oh.
He said, truth, justice, and the Black Adam way. And I'm going, okay. You're calling out the big dog now.
Let's go, boys.
Henry Cavill...
Let's go.
The Rock has wanted to work with Henry Cavill for a while. Like, they have the same agent. So I think if anybody is going to get Henry Cavill back in the DCEU, it's going to be The Rock. So I'll say it now. Superman is in the end credits for Black Adam to set the stage. I think Black Adam will be the end credits for Shazam 2, and they'll duke it out. But then in Shazam and Black Adam sequel, it'll be against Superman, which let's just go into Shazam, shall we? Because
why not? Let's slide right in.
Because this was a fun panel. Again, we didn't get too much, though, and I got my heart broken, especially on this panel, because I was really expecting a Superman announcement, and when we didn't get it, I was just like, okay, my last hope for this lies in Shazam 2. And they're like, we have a special guest. And it was freaking Sinbad of all people, not even Henry Cavill. Granted, the Sinbad thing was funny. The Sinbad thing was cool.
Oh, that was great.
But that was like full on Rick Astley, never going to give you up Rick rolling right there. I'm like, come on.
Dude. Yeah, but like, what did you expect? When
Henry Cavill!
No, he like right off the bat, he's like, okay, well, let's take some fan questions. I was like, well, can't answer that. Can't answer that. Can't answer that. Can't answer that. All right. Well, I don't know what I'm supposed to fill time with since I can't say anything.
Although, they did have those little questions that were on the board, and they're just like, well, can't answer that. Can't answer that. One of the questions did say, will Superman be a mentor to the Shazamily? I'm going.
Exactly.
Did you just kind of... You're aware of what we want. You're just not telling us if you'll give us what we want or not. So...
Exactly.
All we ask
also
is just move the camera up just a little bit so we can see Superman's head this time. Quick side tangent. Did I ever send you that really funny video of David F. Sandberg who's just like, fine, I caved in and added Henry Cavill to the end scene of Shazam and put his head in?
No.
And I'll send it to you after. It's like all distorted head that goes off the screen. It's the best.
All right, I'm done.
But
okay, but like all in all, I did like this panel.
Oh yeah, it was fun.
I'm curious. I am curious as if Sinbad is actually in the movie, or if we just did this for the gag. And if we did it just for the gag, I'm okay with that too. Because that was great.
I'm more okay with it if he's not in it. But the most important thing that came out of it, in all seriousness, was the thing that I misheard the first time because I'm old apparently, is the title. Not Shazam 2, it's Shazam Fury of the Gods, which the first time I heard this, either my internet reception was bad or I'm just going deaf. I thought they said Theory of the Gods, and I was like, that just sounds like a really bad 2000s punk rock band. But Fury of the Gods, that's cool, which immediately gets my brain turning to going, so at the end of Shazam, he breaks the staff after giving his family powers. What if the gods don't approve of that decision at all, and the Wizard of Shazam, that's not what the Wizard of Shazam meant, and the people that gave Shazam his powers aren't too happy with the fact that he has shared his powers with other people? That's just me spitballing, but could be interesting.
Yeah.
I think
it's going to depend on who that caterpillar is.
I don't know if he's still in play now. I mean, he might be.
I mean, I would assume so, because they kind of end the movie with him being like, well, now that I'm free, I can do all this stuff. So, I mean, I would assume he would be in play.
But Mr. Mind isn't a god, though. And he has his own...
I know,
he's got his own, like, Legion of Doom kind of thing that he runs.
I don't know where we're going with this, man. I don't know. A lot could happen, and I'm here for it. Honestly, I love this cast. I love Shazam 1. Let's go. I'm just ready for it. Let's go. Hurry up.
So our last news, or not even news topic, it just feels like we've been covering news topics. Our last panel before the main event was the other video game, and oddly enough, the one that is actually set in the Arkhamverse is Suicide Squad Kill the Justice League, which we've been talking about leading up to this event. And it's basically your members of the Suicide Squad. They didn't make it clear if it was just the 4 that we saw in the trailer or if there'll be others. Deadshot, who looks suspiciously like Firefly. Deadshot, Harley Quinn, King Shark is a shark, and Captain Boomerang. And they have to fight Superman and the rest of the Justice League. But something that they did not acknowledge in that poster that immediately made me sit up and go, okay, I'm interested, is it seems like Brainiac is controlling the Justice League. And I'm going, anything with Brainiac, I'm there with bells on. Get me there now, because just yes. However, my excitement is like a balloon. It kept building and building. It looked really cool. The fact we're fighting Superman. Coming 2022, all the air just gets completely sucked out of that excitement going, I know, Rocksteady, that you haven't been doing anything since 2015, at least that we know of. There's been 2 canceled games that we know of, but officially, this is what they've been working on for a while. I get that we needed to hear something, but if we're still this far away, you probably didn't need to tell us anything, because honestly, you got us really excited for a game that's probably about 2 years away still. Like, come on.
Yeah, I mean, that's fair. I can understand your sentiments. I honestly forgot what panel I was watching and forgot what game was left to be announced. And when they opened with that shot of Brainiac's ship, I went, no way.
You were thinking Injustice 3?
I was thinking a Superman game.
Okay, about that.
Yeah.
That's what Rocksteady was working on before Warner Brothers told them no. And I'm going, screw you, Warner Brothers. I want a good Superman game, and Rocksteady is probably the people to do it. But in this game, it seems like you're going to fight the Justice League, but then once you've beaten them, you probably aren't going to kill them. I highly doubt you're going to kill them. It seems like you're going to take their powers, because forgive me, but it looked like Captain Boomerang had some super speed going on there.
Yeah, super speed and some teleportation almost.
Which would explain how you're going to kill the Justice League, which if you're making this game and you progressively steal the Justice League's powers as the game goes on, who's that first person that you have to beat that'd be like, okay, yeah, the Suicide Squad could probably take them down?
Martian Manhunter? Jeez.
No, I think he's too powerful. I go,
yeah,
Hal Jordan, Green Lantern. Just be like, here's some yellow, some Sinestro. Hey, your girlfriend's dead. Oh, thanks for the ring. Bye. See you later. Like, I like Hal.
Super cash.
Like, I like Hal, but he's not my favorite Green Lantern. Also, I think power level wise, Hal Jordan may be a little overrated. Because for a good guy, he seems to not be good a lot, or get bailed out by sheer dumb luck or other people's hard work a lot.
Yeah, well, he's there to inspire. So that's all I can go on with that. No, yeah, it could be fun. That honestly, my favorite person in this trailer is genuinely King Shark.
He's always the best.
Oh, he's so great.
Yeah, I'm excited for this game, even if, again, I would have liked a Superman game or even more Rocksteady Batman games, but Rocksteady, despite what you think about Arkham Knight, I like the entire Arkham trilogy, so I trust them enough to go with this. Would this have been my top pick for them to do? Heck no. Absolutely not. But I will still give them a chance to give them the benefit of the doubt. So last but not least, the main event, so to speak, was Matt Reeves' The Batman panel, and he dropped a trailer. Now, I love nothing more, because I'm just that jerk, I guess. I love nothing more than when online leakers are way wrong, and they're proven to be the frauds that they are, because there's so many people that are like, I have the inside scoop, and I'm going, really? You're a disgrace to journalism. People just think they have scoops, because I remember for days leading up to this event, we're going to get this awesome 30-second teaser of not a whole lot of shots, but basically Batman being interrogated and have a gun pointing at him by Gordon, and he's going to get evidence from the GCPD in their morgue. I'm like, whatever, weird dude. But that rumor kept floating up. Who the heck spewed that out there, but? Because that's not what we got. We got something a lot better. We got a full 2.5-minute trailer. But we'll get to the trailer in a second. We're going to talk extensively first about the actual panel itself, because Matt Reeves, with each passing word that he said, my hype meter just got higher and higher, because it's just like he was spoon-feeding me exactly what I've wanted to hear for a Batman movie for the longest time. He's just like, when we were designing the suit this time around, we specifically designed it with fights in mind. I'm going, oh? And, was that proven in the trailer? But we'll get there.
Yeah.
I was just like, this is a year 2 story, so it's not fully an origin, but he's not fully the Batman that Gotham knows or that we know yet. The city doesn't fully trust him. The villains that we know are there, but they're not the fully realized versions of them yet. We haven't really seen him as the world's greatest detective yet, and so we wanted to focus the detective aspect of this. Everything I'm hearing is just like,
yes, let's go.
Yes,
let's go.
yes, 1,000 times, yes. And it was just great. It was confirmed finally that this is a separate universe. It's its own universe in the multiverse. It's not going to be connected to anything else. That was confirmed by Walter Hamada, so that lays that to rest once and for all. And it's confirmed to be a year 2. So it's not full-on origin, thankfully, because I like Batman Begins and I like year 1, but we don't need another year 1 story. But I do like the raw, unkempt feel of this Batman. Now, Josh, without going into trailer details, because we'll dissect that in a bit, what were some of your biggest takeaways from the panel itself?
Definitely his bit about all the thought process that went into the suit, to the car, to the bike, and then to the story itself. And I also liked how he said Pattinson was very involved in all of it. He wanted to be involved in the design of the suit. He wanted to be involved in the design of the story. And the more and more and more I loved what Matt Reeves was talking about, because it, like you said, he was spoon feeding us, yes, but at the same time, the more and more he talked, the more and more it became apparent that he knew what he was talking about. He'd done his research. He cares about the characters, not just Batman, but he cares about the characters in general in this universe. And it's one of the more and more and more. It was okay, this is in the right hands. Let's go. Yeah. Seems like he's able to. He's got a storyline in mind over the 3 movies now. Not like, all right, make this first one, and if it's successful, I'll make 2 more. He's like, no, I have an arc figured out for these 3 movies. Because especially with him to become aware of corruption, and that is what spurs him, and especially into how it affects his family. So it was like, all right, dude, you understand this. Also, hashtag Thomas Wayne is actually evil confirmed. Let's go.
Which I've seen some people complaining about that, but I'm like, that's nothing new. Recent media has toyed with the idea of Thomas Wayne not being the perfect person we know. Like the Telltale games did that. The Joker did that. I'm not opposed to that at all. I think that's an interesting spin. Let's dive into what, no joke, I think might go down as one of the best trailers I've ever seen. And I'll be rewatching this every day till this movie comes out. Like, up till today, Dark Knight Rises is probably my most viewed teaser trailer of all time. That and the first Man of Steel one. Just watching over and over, trying to get details. This, good Lord, it's beautiful. Oh my God. So the funny thing is, it opens with that sound of duct tape. When I showed it to my dad the next day when we were working on Heather's car, you don't see anything yet. You just hear the sound. He's like, sounds like duct tape. Cut to the next shot. Oh, okay. So we see this person being duct taped, which we'll go into that in a second when our tinfoil hats come out. But also, I didn't notice this until my rewatch of it, my second, not my 50th. That dude that's getting his head duct taped is still alive when he's getting duct taped. That breathing is not coming from our assassin. I think that's someone that's being duct taped alive and can't breathe. I'm going, oh, that's even darker. But then you got this great music kicking in with Gordon checking the crime scene. And again, he sees this little note, which, again, we'll break out the tinfoil hats in a little bit, of there's a very big detail there that not enough people are talking about. But he's like, does this mean anything to you? And then quick cut to our new Batman. And I squealed with delight seeing that, just going, oh my God, that's suit, and that's Batman, and the chin, and that's Batman, and it's beautiful, and it's Batman. And it just got better from there. We get all this quick cuts. We see Zoe Kravitz in a not quite Catwoman outfit yet. Also, side note, Gordon has the mustache. That's all I cared about. That's totally fine with me. He can be whatever race he wants to be, but mustache is all that matters.
I love who they got. I forgot who they had gotten to play Gordon, and I love it even more now that I've seen it. Like, oh my goodness, yes. Let's go.
So we get some more shots. We also get phenomenal makeup work for whoever did the makeup for Colin Farrell as Cobblepot, who is not Penguin. They've made clear that he is not Penguin yet. But then, the moment every Pattinson fan went, yes! And all the Pattinson haters go, oh, balls, we screwed up, is, who the hell are you supposed to be? Mercy killing. Except for the fact that, unlike Zack Snyder, he doesn't actually kill. And some people are like, how do we know he didn't kill that guy? I'm like, have you ever watched any fight ever? Like, he's still alive. He's just humbled AF. Like,
yeah, in typical Batman fashion, he's not dead, but he's definitely not going anywhere anytime soon.
Yeah, he's humbled for sure.
Jeez.
But also, we don't cut away from that. It's not like it was shot John Wick style as opposed to Taken 3 style of we see him putting the beat down on this fool, but it's all in camera as opposed to quick rapid cuts to show that it's clearly some stunt double. We see that this is Batman laying the hurt on this guy, and then once he's down, still putting the hurt on him, as opposed to some previous movies of one punch and you're down. For anybody that's been in a fight, one punch can theoretically put it away, but you typically need a couple more shots to really send the message. And oh my goodness, the look on those criminals' faces, the message was sent. Because one kid looks like he's genuinely crying. Yeah. And then what we all expected to happen. Oh. So there's always that like almost meme like of I'm Batman. And I think if he said I'm Batman, it would have been turned into a meme. But he looks up and goes, I'm vengeance. I almost crap my pants going, Kevin Conroy salutes you right now because, oh my God, I will die happy if in this movie we hear Robert Pattinson go, I am vengeance, I am the night, I'm Batman. But not just I'm vengeance and meaning it. Make fun of Christian Bale's Batman voice all you want. But Robert Pattinson, that's a Batman voice. Like,
yeah.
Oh
you
my.
Understand him.
Yeah, which that's actually Christopher Nolan's fault, not Christian Bale's. That's a side tangent for another day. But that's like, okay, I am terrified of you. Which is another thing about this trailer. No matter how many times I watch this is the first time I'm feeling a specific emotion about a Batman movie after watching the trailer. I'm man enough to admit, the first time I watched this trailer, I was excited, but also kind of scared. And that's the point. Like, this is dark. I love horror, so I want to be scared. But this is dark, and I'm afraid of this Batman. I'm uncomfortable by this Batman. And that's a great thing for sure. Because Batman is not a nice guy. He doesn't kill people, but he's not a nice guy. And at the end, when he's got the cowl off and he's still got the eye black on, because of course he would. I hate when it just magically disappears in Dark Knight Returns when he takes the cowl off. I'm like, no. He's still got that smudginess, but he's looking down. I'm like, that man is not okay. He's still got something going on, and I kind of love every minute of it, Josh. I know you love the trailer, but give me a breather here for a second, will ya?
Yeah, bro. Like, first of all, I think I posted it on the Instagram. That makeup for Colin Farrell is incredible.
Mm-hmm.
Because I mean, I know, I don't know about you, but I mean, I've said it kind of already with Gordon, but I had besides Pattinson, I had kind of forgotten who they had gotten to play other people, and I had no idea that was Colin. And even if I now knowing, I've watched it back, and I still can't tell that it's Colin. Mm-hmm. Like, holy cow, it's incredible. The little hints of Catwoman are going to be fun. I like that the interactions that they have are both of them basically being like, I don't know what to think of you.
Which is just their relationship in a nutshell, always.
Yes. Also, Colin's line when he's getting chased towards the end of the trailer, he's like, "Man, this guy's crazy." I was like, "Yes, he is. Let's go. I'm down."
And that Batmobile.
Oh, man.
I don't care what people say. That Batmobile's sick.
Yes, it is. The one thing that I have seen people say in reference to the guys with the painted faces, they're saying, "Oh, the Joker confirmed."
Those are skeletons, not Jokers.
I dislike it. Yeah. Let's save Joker. It's fine. I'm okay with this. I'm okay with the plot we have, guys. I Am Vengeance. I'm super down. Let's go. Also, given what information Matt Reeves has given us through that panel, and given what you and I have been hinting at, I would dare say that Riddler is confirmed as a serial killer, and yeah. I think Court of Owls is definitely involved.
All right, yep, it's time. It's time to. We need an alert or something.
Put on the hat.
It doesn't work with these headphones, but imagine it's. I'm just gonna hold it. Whatever. It's gonna. Just gonna hold it. It doesn't work for these headphones, but okay. People, imagine. I'm gonna fix this for a second. But so. Josh, why do you think the Court of Owls and Riddler... Well, we know Riddler's involved, but why do you think Court of Owls is involved?
Based on what Matt Reeves was talking about, traditionally the story of the Court of Owls does involve Thomas. To my knowledge, it's one of the first times that Thomas is mentioned as potentially not a good person. Potentially as somebody who is involved in nefarious things. So the fact that Matt Reeves was talking about, part of Batman's investigation is that he finds that there's a lot of corruption in the city, and that is something that spurs him into action. And then he is consistently asking, this is all like Matt Reeves' words, he's consistently, because of that revelation, consistently asking him, okay, well, what's my spot in this? What's my parents' spot in this whole massive Gotham conspiracy? And the only thing to this point in canon lore that's that big is the Court of Owls. And dude, let's go.
So glad you said it as I'm awkwardly balancing my hat because it's important for this. You're missing some very important details, my friend.
I mean, that's fine. I didn't want to say everything. You needed to talk at some point.
Fair enough. So everyone's going to talk about that awesome Batman introduction in the trailer of he gets the card from Riddler. I think the card's from Riddler, but I think the court is behind Riddler's choices. And I've been saying that since, remember, I think it was like episode 15 or 16 when we had pitch our Batman movie, when I said I want serial killer Riddler for the first one with a tease for Court of Owls at the end. Because we've seen this trailer millions upon millions of times already, for those that might have missed it, on the front of the card that Batman gets at the crime scene, it has a skeleton and an owl. And I'm going, but also, I can't take credit for this. This is an idea that's been floating around for a while. The opening shot, we are assuming that is Riddler because it's leaving the riddle. What other... It looks like he's wearing glasses of some kind. What if those are goggles? And what other hitman do we know that wears goggles for a secret organization?
What is it? I think there's Talon. Yeah, I think Talon. Yeah, I think that's a thing.
But also,
I also got like a lot of like Hush vibes from him too.
That is also a theory that people have, is that he is that Riddler's Hush. But given the backlash of the Hush animated movie, I don't think Matt Reeves would go down that route.
See, the only reason I hated that from the Hush animated movie is because they played the whole movie up to that point as business as usual. Now, if you go back and you weave threads in, so it's not like, it's his best friend, just like in the comic book. oh, pull the carpet under, see, it's Riddler. I think I'd be less upset if there was more hints and more like, well, I don't know. I know this story, but there's a lot of stuff that gives me doubt. So I mean, I think it's possible to make Hush Riddler.
But also, like you said, another reason why Batman Hush, the animated movie, failed is because they're just like, Riddler's back from the dead. And we're going, he was dead in this universe? You never set that up either.
Yeah.
Where did that come from? But again, to the Court of Owls thing, because I took my hat off because it was falling off at this point. Like you said, Matt Reeves talked about Bruce finding out some of the nastier secrets about the city and how it might be very corrupt. And the court have been running Gotham City for decades. What if the court is the one like spoon feeding information to the Riddler? Like, Riddler's smart, but what if he's got like someone waiting in the wings giving him information that know everything, and they're setting up Riddler for a fall just so they can continue to play their long game? I think Court of Owls will be something that happens in the not too distant future.
Yes. The other thing I actually had a thought of is that voice we hear. I'm not entirely convinced that that's Riddler.
The what's the price for your blind eye?
Yeah. Oh, and the
what's your part to play?
If this is just the face of justice, please do not lie. Whatever. I'm not entirely convinced that that's Riddler. I can be wrong. I'm wrong most of the time, unless you're Static Shock. But I'm feeling good. I'm gonna say Talon's in this.
Yeah,
I'm feeling good.
Josh gets one thing right, and he's just gonna feel good for the rest of the year. Josh could bat 1 for 50 in predictions, but that one was a grand slam at the bottom of the ninth in the World Series, so he doesn't even care anymore. He's just gonna be set for a while. Be like, Josh, you thought Tom Hardy was gonna be Wolverine, and he'll be like, well, I got the Static Shock thing right.
Yeah, I mean, to be fair, it is a grand slam at the bottom of the ninth. Like, bro, like nobody saw that coming. So,
and the nice thing is, because I have to do it, Josh didn't even have to hit a trash can to do it.
Oh, that's mean. That's my. Hey, man, Astros cleaned up the Rockies, so
that's because the Rockies. I don't know what happened. Oh wait, I do. If this was actually like a season, this would be about July, which is when we normally fall off. Right off a cliff. Like, we have nosedive. It's okay. I didn't want them to win this season anyway. I don't want anyone to win this season. Because, like, think about it. If you win the World Series this year, it's like winning half a trophy. It's like a consolation prize. If the Yankees win, they'll be like, 27 and a half rings. Like it. Really? You won a World Series in a 60-game season. Like, normally I want the Rockies to win the World Series. This is the only year that I'm like, I don't care. Give it to the Indians or somebody. I don't care.
But regardless of our weirdly heated recently baseball rivalry,
nothing better going on.
Dude, the fandom in general was a fun, unique experience. I think, like what you said, this could be the future of cons in some ways. I think once everything gets back to normal, cons will, kind of happen again. And I think in some ways it'll happen in an even bigger capacity. But all in all, like, DC, good job. Like, that's a full day of content. That's a full day of like, hey, we've been waiting on this stuff, dropped. We've been waiting on this, dropped. We've been waiting on this, dropped. Like, it was really, really cool to have a day full of things that I love. And I mean, I say that as someone who has never attended a con, who has never really had the opportunity to listen onto San Diego Comic-Con. It has never been able to have this kind of information dump. But yeah, it was a really cool experience, and I kind of hope some other companies do this in some way, shape, or fashion.
Yeah, they put Comic-Con at home to shame. That was just embarrassing. But what you guys think about DC Fandome? Let us know in the comments below what it was like hearing from you guys. And a quick reminder, in just 3 weeks, that's right, 3 weeks, we will be going live every show on Facebook. So you can join us there. Mark your calendars. In just 3 weeks, we'll be going live, and we'll be going live every week there on after. But if you want to catch us post-game, or how you catch us normally, you can subscribe to us on whatever audio platform you're listening to us on, whether it's iTunes, Spotify, Google Podcasts, or YouTube. And if you haven't already, subscribe to us on YouTube at Uncharted Media. And as always, stay sharp, movie guys and gals.